Korok's Man-Ripper's Regiment around Best-igors got a little bit of a bump with all Best-igors, and not in an area you might expect. All Best-igors got a little bit more chargy and a little bit faster, I believe, including an increase to their charge speed, which seems like a weird buff. I mean, it makes sense in the context of regular Best-igors, considering they're kind of a shock armor-piercing infantry. For Korok's Man-Rippers, you might think it's a little bit of an odd one, but actually, speed is super important for halberds, and the one benefit of the Korok's Man-Rippers, one of the benefits, I should say, is their fast speed. Being Beastmen with Primal Fury, they have 42 speed, so they can keep up better with large units, which tend to be faster, and given the sort of prevalence of large units, monsters in the game now, especially in the current patch with a lot of monsters getting buffed, and makes sense against a lot of large factions too, like Ogres. You would want some extra anti-large. Shetland Apache coming in here with those Korok's Man-Rippers to support the Butchers of Kalkengard. That is a huge kind of amount of spend, all concentrated in one area of the battlefield, but the rest here, we've got a Brave Shaman of Shadows on the Cheap Chariot, I believe. No, actually, yes, looks like the Cheap Chariot. Yeah, we've got a bunch of Ungor herds spread around as well. Spears, regular, mixed, a couple of Centaurs, great weapons hidden in the woods there with some poison warhounds looking for some sneaky shenanigans, as the the Beastmen love to do. We've also got some Ungor Spearman herd, we've got some Chaos Poison warhounds, and some more Centaurs here in the woods as well, and some rank 8 Harpies already making some attack runs here to attack some of these Crushers. Great weapons, which there are 3 of for the Ogres. Yeah, one of them being, of course, Regiment of Renown here. Sky Striders, yeah, and then this one here. Interesting build, or I should say tactic, with rank 9 Harpies. Yeah, 47 melee defense, and you see also an enfeebling foe being dropped on those Crushers, puts them down to only 20 attack and 6 defense. The Harpies are actually getting some hits, even if not a lot, through that 120 armor. But more importantly, the Harpies are also kind of tying them down and distracting them while taking very little damage in the process, at least for now. Yeah, you'll see once the hits do land, they do a substantial amount of damage, but Harpies are able to mostly get away. And again, pulls like many thousands of points. What is that, like 2,000 points, 3,000 points plus? Definitely 3,000 points plus worth of Crushers out of position. And then the Butchers of Kalkengard can charge on in the front line with less danger. They get in here and start to mix it up with the Noblars. The Bulls also kind of interrupt the Sky Striders and the other Crushers on the charge there, but you can see the Korok's Man-Rippers also following up now, not having to take the charge and actually getting to implement their own 22 charge bonus, which might not seem like a lot, but infantry charge bonus, especially when you're charging against large units where more infantry models are going to be able to take advantage of that charge bonus potentially, actually can be quite beneficial. But here we see also the Beastmen's mobile units, Ungors and Centaurs and everything else kind of closing the distance there. Yeah, some more Ungor herd just kind of saturating in over here on the far side. The Centaurs, great weapons, just kind of pulling some Ogre Bulls out of position. Looks like the Beastmen mobility did take some losses there, including those rank 8 Harpies, both of which have been devastated at this point. But hey, they, I guess, did something. Yeah, I mean, even tactically, just pulling away those Crushers at the beginning was pretty impactful. But here, the Halberds in support of the Butchers of Kalkengard with, you know, enfeebling foe. We saw a little bit of Melkos mystifying miasma there, also coming into damage, even though the damage efficiency isn't going to be perfect against units with as low a model count as Crushers have. It just helps to have all the extra chip damage you can. We'll talk about Demigryph Knights on another day. Obviously, they're not in this replay, but I've been seeing some comments saying they are extremely strong, which I think is probably right. They might have been a little bit overbuffed, but also, like, how do you end up dealing with that? I think, again, sort of taking a page out of the book here, fighting with support, making sure you have proper magic, and try to force your opponent into an unfavorable engagement. Definitely work out well. Speaking of unfavorable engagements, though, the Crushers chasing these Sons of Goros here. Centaurs way out of position. The Ogre Bulls also with Noblars. It's a nice, strong force for the Ogres. Definitely pretty overpowering, but they are kind of leaving the rest of the army out to dry here, and the terror is definitely taking hold as the Ogre leadership struggles under the Beastmen's assault. Yeah, Butchers of Kalkengard, their terror being very key here to success, able to continue following up, but yeah, looks like some bulls here collapse the flank. Trappers are going to get some nice volleys, and the Butchers are taking some pretty significant damage. Yeah, Slaughtermaster here of the Great Maw also can come in and try and maybe heal sustain like this last group of Crushers, but Centaurs here looking for a favorable engagement. Once the Ungors have kind of eaten the charge, they're going to countercharge back in, but they do get blocked somewhat by the bulls. Sons of Goros, it looks like they're going to take a flank charge there, or the regular Centaurs even, and that'll do some pretty nasty damage to them. Crushers look like they're in a fine position over there. Over on this far side here, once again, Korok's Manrippers just all up in this combat. Noblar traps are going to hit... What are they going to hit? The Butchers of Kalkengard here. Just kind of slowly chipping them a little bit, but... yeah, of course, they're regenerational, so allows them to keep fighting here with plenty of strength. So, yeah, right now, Beastmen in a quite commanding position. That being said, Ogres definitely crafty bunch. See the Butchers kind of charging downhill, getting a lot of their supporting forces ready to engage here as well. The Butchers, yeah, safe from a rear charge. I thought those Crushers might come in and try and crush them, but instead they crush the Sons of Goros, and we see a Troll Guts upgraded here. Ooh, yeah, they weren't actually taking that much damage. It's kind of a pre-Troll Guts, if you will. Sort of anticipating them to take a big amount of burst damage, when in fact they don't. Some of that healing might end up being wasted. You can see them taking a little bit from the Butchers of Kalkengard, and so some of that healing will not be wasted. Definitely not wasted, as they take massive damage from the Butchers of Kalkengard, and some of the Ungor Spearman Herd start to filter in here as well. Of course, the Korok's Manrippers absolutely should not be discounted as support here. And once again, we see them plus the Butchers, the two elite regiments of renown for the Beastmen, absolutely holding their ground and grinding it efficiently and effectively. Ogre's leadership isn't going to be able to hold up to that, so quite an effective performance, and you don't see Korok's Manrippers a ton. I think you probably will in the future, but wow, that is the best value I've ever seen on them, or on any Best-igor unit probably, in the history of my time here in Total War Warhammers, so that's absolutely remarkable. Great job by Shetland Apache, and a credit to his opponent as well. I believe this was actually a tournament game, if I'm not mistaken. Shetland can probably fill in the details down below if you look for his comment. But yeah, some of the Centaurs, only one of them actually pays for themselves. Some of them end up just kind of running around in circles the whole time, which is actually tactically useful here. Again, keeping those Crushers away from the combat where they actually need to be was the goal and the role of some of these units, and they fulfilled that just fine. Butchers of Kalkengard, 1648. So I guess in reality, they're kind of the support for the Korok's Manrippers here, to be honest. Yeah, they're kind of the mass blocking and HP sponge soaking, you know, value soaking. And the Korok's Manrippers, in this battle at least, are the ones that actually get the value work done, which is just awesome. Brave Shaman of Shadows also doesn't do a ton in terms of raw damage value. I think I maybe expected a little bit more on those melt costs, considering he was casting them on high value targets a lot of the time. But I guess a lot of it's support value as well with that enfeebling foe. Yeah, overall, really fun build from Shetland. I really like some of the different synergies here, and I definitely think Korok's Manrippers, yeah, I think you'll be seeing them in quite a bit of builds, especially given that a lot of kind of monster-heavy, cab-heavy builds are definitely in the meta right now for a lot of different factions. I really like them as a support infantry for a number of different roles, or just as kind of a dedicated backline anti-large, you know, protector, something else high value, like if you have this Butcher, or if you have, you know, just kind of finish up on some things. Beastmen right up at the top. So yeah, Korok's Manrippers, 1300. They're decently expensive, you know, kind of on par with some other elite tier halberds, but what you get for that is a pretty offensively focused stat line, and solid weapon strength overall, especially with the plus 20 bonus versus large. Again, charge bonus is not a stat you typically think of for infantry generally, but especially for halberds. I mean, I guess chosen halberds also have 16, which is decent. 20 then gets increased by that Primal Fury a little bit, not a lot, an extra 2, but I mean 22 charge bonus plus that charge speed, and their regular speed, right? Like 38, again, up to like 42 with that Primal Fury, compared to an abysmal 28 for a Chosen Halberd, or like, you know, you look at like the Elf Halberds, right? Elite Elf Halberds are going to be in a similar vein, quite slow, at least 31, but still, yeah, a little bit better weapon strength on the Blackguards, right? Yeah, with the anti-large included, yes, and again, they also have decent-ish charge bonus, only 18, but yeah, that extra speed, the extra HP as well, 10,000 HP overall is pretty good. Like, kind of just great, to be honest. Yeah, there's a lot of things going for the Koroks Man Rippers. Definitely want to see them in more games, but as something for support for like a Blood Brute, or if you're trying to protect, like, let's say, any kind of monster, really, or even the Monstrous Infantry. If you're trying to protect them, support them in combat against something else potentially big and scary, or even just like we saw here, like Scary Cavalry, you know, Demogryph Knights, Crushers, a lot of single entities in the game. These guys will help, definitely, so consider them in your next Beastman build. Hopefully enjoyed that. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.